Hi, welcome. We're back in the swing studio here. It's Mike Newton. In this video, we're going to look at shafts. Okay, and I'm going to compare two shafts against each other, which are different weights and are designed to hit different types of trajectory, or trying to aim to hit a different type of trajectory. So what I've got here is two KBS Tour C-Taper shafts. Okay, the one at the bottom is the 120 in a stiff flex, and the one above it is the Tour Lite 110 in a stiff. So they're both stiff flex. One's 120 gram and one's 110 gram. Okay, they're both C-Taper KBS Tours, so exactly the same there. It's just the weight difference here. So the design of these here, the 120, just the KBS Tour C-Taper 120, is designed for a sort of low to mid trajectory. Okay, obviously a heavier weight there, still a stiff flex. The C-Taper Lite, which is 110, so 110 grams, 10 grams lighter than the 120 obviously, is designed to hit a mid to high sort of ball flight trajectory. Okay, so I'm going to test these. These are both 1/2 inch longer. Okay, I'm going to put them into the JPX 900 Tour head. Okay, so I'm going to use the same head for both shafts. I'm using my Mizuno DNA fittings system here, so we can quickly interchange the shafts into the head. And we're just going to maybe see if we can actually see a physical difference of ball flight. Checking out numbers obviously on GC2 HMT here. Look at some spin numbers, look at some launches, how the ball peaks off on its flight, and let's see, and also maybe a little bit of feedback from me as to whether I can feel that 10 grams between them, and maybe how that influences my strike, and again what that does with numbers. And we'll just see if there's a little bit of a difference between these two, as what we generally read on the website here at Mizuno, which will tell us it's hitting different ball flights. Okay, so we're just going to start with the C-Taper Lite, which is 110 gram. Okay, again, this is stiff. This is designed to hit this sort of mid to high trajectory here. So we'll start off with that. We'll get some numbers with this particular iron. Now, set myself out here at 185 yards out from this green on the sim. So that should be my sort of distance with a 6 iron. Okay, struck that really nice, just slightly pulled that, but good strike. Just missed the green slightly left. Okay, so here's a second shot in the C-Taper Lite shaft. Again, nice strike there, carrying that at 184. Yeah, quite a nice shot that. Again, really good strike there. Just a slight push one. Does feel fairly light. You know, I'm feeling the head in the club a little bit more. The weight in the head of the club a little bit more. Obviously, what I find through fittings here, and obviously delving into this myself a little bit. Obviously, the lighter the shaft goes, the dead weight of the club does become lighter for obvious reasons. But because the shaft's lighter, you feel that weight at the end of the club a little bit more. Okay, so some customers here, or some guys through fittings pick up clubs and they say, oh, that feels heavier. Okay, it's not actually heavier, but they just feel that weight at the end of the golf club. So people feel this in different ways. Okay, to me that does feel quite light under my hands, and I am feeling a little bit more weight in the head. It doesn't feel too light, it feels quite comfortable to me. Great strike, really hit that one well. Okay, so here's the third shot here, lovely little soft draw. Struck this one really nice. Yeah, nice shot there. That was carrying out at 185. Okay, so here's the final shot here. Again, nice strike. Nice straight golf shot as well, which is pleasing. Quite close to the hole. That carried out at 181, ball speed 124. Okay, so there's a batch or 5 shots hit with the C-Taper Lite 110. Okay, so I'm just going to take this out of the JPX 900 head, as I say, it did feel fairly light under the hands. Okay, just swapping this over into the C-Taper Tour 120, so 10 grams heavier this shaft. Okay, both of these shafts are very nice sort of finish on them. This is more decorative really, as opposed to change anything on performance here, but they're like a painted silver finish all the way down, a little speckly silver finish, which does look quite nice really. There's no steps in these shafts, so it's a bit like a rifle shaft here. It's all you know, just one continuous taper down, which obviously where it gets its name from. So the 120 here, 10 grams lighter. Let's hit a few shots with this one. I think definitely the first thing I feel when I pick it up, obviously I've not swung this yet, first thing I feel when I pick this up is more weight under the handle. Definitely feel a lot more weight under the hands there, which is obviously taking that weight away from the sort of head. Okay, definitely feeling up more under the grip of the golf club there. Yeah, just making those few little movements there. The head feels lighter now. It's obviously not, it's the head's exactly the same, but a bit more weight presented up or distributed up the shaft here now. We're only talking 10 grams here. I mean, if you pick up 10 grams in your hand, it's nothing, is it? Absolutely nothing. But when you put it down the length of a golf shaft, you can feel that a little bit more. And that's definitely what I'm feeling there. So it'd be interesting to see maybe what it does to club head speed. You know, heavier shaft might, in theory, slow speed down a little bit. Okay. I'm generally used to something a little bit heavier in my own shafts. I play the Modus Tour 130, so I'm used to a little bit of weight. So this feels more comfortable to me. But I think having said that, even in the Modus one, it doesn't feel as heavy under the handle. I'm definitely feeling that this section of the golf club, really quite heavy under the handle. Okay, let's hit a few shots. So I'm still 185 out from the flag. Let's see if this does anything different. Yeah, didn't quite get that perfect. A little bit heavy. I've hit target, I've hit the green, but that dropped off at 177 carry. Just to cut that a fraction heavy there. That would have dropped a bit of spin off that, to be honest. Okay, let's hit a few more. So here's a second shot with the 120. Not a bad ball flat. Again, just cut this a fraction heavy here. So I think it's just dropped off a little bit on ball speed. Yeah, 120 ball speed, 179 carry. Yeah, I've struck that one really well there. That was a good strike. Yeah, that carried 185. Ball speed 127. Spinning it just over 5,000 there. That was a really good strike. Let's hit one more. Ooh, just a little bit heely that. Just peel that a little bit right. Yeah, 182 carry, not bad. Okay, so that's a 120 hits, batch of shots. We'll have a look at some numbers there. And we'll just delve in to see if we've seen that difference of the ball flight and trajectory that maybe the shafts are suggesting we should be seeing. So looking at some numbers here, we've got obviously the seat, it's a bit small right in here, I've got to try to cram in the whole title here, but we've got the light 110 C-Tape at the top, and we've got the 120. Both were stiff flex, remember, both were ½ inch longer, and both are exactly the same head, which is JPX 900 Tour head. Okay, so really good sort of head-to-head test here. So we're going to look at club head speed. So 96.1 against 96. Now, like generally a heavier shaft, you think, well, that could just drop off a little bit of club head speed. It hasn't really done that. You know, 0.1 mile an hour is nothing over an average. It's absolutely pretty much bang on the same. Ball speed, you can see, has just dropped down slightly. But if you're looking a little bit deep, I've got one real drop off there, 119. That's the one I caught a little bit heavy. Okay, so that was more of a strike there as opposed to maybe the weight of the shaft that's pulled that ball speed down. So probably ball speed's very, very similar. Okay, look at the launch here, absolutely identical as an average. okay, 18.9. Looking at side spin, you know, just averaging a slight little draw there, which is good. Backspin were literally 131 to be exact, revolutions different. It's very, very close, you know, that isn't a massive difference there. So not really seeing differences of spin there, which is quite interesting. Again, strike is overriding that. You look at this one that's dropped off. I caught this heavy. You see that drags a lot of spin off. That only spun at 4,000. Yeah, I've got one spin in the last one there at 5.5. That's a difference of 1,500 with the same shaft. Okay, so you can see my strike moved around a little bit more with that heavier one. It did feel a bit more weight in the handle, which made the head feel light. Okay, you see the top one here is a little bit tighter on my numbers. You know, I'm ranging from just under 5,000 to 5,394. So very much more tighter. So to me, that shows I've struck the ball more consistently. Okay, and you can probably see that reflects in my ball speed there as well. You know, a lot tighter on those numbers. Okay, so moving along to peak height here. So this is maybe one that we're sort of looking at the two shafts. One's a low to mid trajectory, one's a mid to high trajectory. And, you know, guess what? There's only 1 yard in it here. Okay, so very, very similar on the actual launch here. And then look at total distance at carry, 182, average against 181. Again, the lighter one, maybe just a bit tighter on the numbers there. So very, very similar on those numbers, to be honest. So, interesting numbers there, isn't it? You know, C-Taper Lite against C-Taper 120. One's low to mid, other one's mid to high. There's not a lot in it. I'll tell you what, there's not a lot in it at all. You know, some very, very similar numbers there. Yes, the one is just coming slightly out lower, but probably strike isn't changing that more than anything really. Probably the biggest factor I would say between those two shafts is feel. You know, and this, I mentioned this a few times in my videos. You know, the shafts I think very much come down to feel. Your feel can be different to my feel, to the next person's, to the next person's, okay? And we've got to build in then swing speed, how somebody loads a shaft, in terms of how quick the transition is, how the speed is at the bottom. There's a lot of other little influences here that may just affect how these shafts perform. So sometimes what you read on websites, on paper, you may think, oh, this is, you know, I'm a high hitter of the golf ball. C-Taper 120, low to mid. That sounds perfect. I'll have that in mind. You know, you've got to test these. You've just got to pitch them against each other. And also it depends on what head you've got on the other end of it as well. So, you know, the biggest thing there was feel. You know, the C-Taper 120 definitely felt heavy in that handle. Massively felt that. And just made that head feel lighter. Now, for me personally, I'd like to feel where the head is through the swing, especially when it gets down to that bottom bit of strike. I couldn't quite feel that with the 120, which probably suggests why I didn't quite strike it as consistent there. There's a couple of heavy ones, one a little bit heely there, but the C-Taper Lite seemed to suit me a little bit better. You know, I did feel lighter in the grip end, and I felt that head at the end a little bit more, which then I could feel where that was throughout the whole swing. Okay, definitely has changed my performance there. Feel. Okay, numbers are very similar. Feel, big difference between the two here. And this is where you've got to go out here and test and don't just go off what it suggests that a flight should be. You could change your dynamic loft and impact quite easily from the next person. You know, you've got to go and test these yourself. Okay, really interesting video there, and I think interesting results, and may just sort of highlight the importance of going to get fit for golf clubs. If you're not getting fit for your irons, it's like 600 quid or whatever. It's like chucking it on a random horse, and you know, in the local derby or whatever. You know, it's such a punt. You know, you've got to go and test these, get fitted, try them yourselves in different heads against each other, look at some numbers with a good fitter on a launch monitor. That's the best way you're going to get the performance out of these golf clubs to suit you as an individual. Okay, hope you found that video interesting. Please subscribe. I'll pop a little link up here for you to subscribe. If you can do that, I'd very much appreciate it. Hit the thumbs up if you've liked the video, and share it around. If you've got any friends who may sort of sometimes what we call shaftoids out there's a lot of guys into these shafts, share this video around. I think it's quite an interesting one to sort of look at and have a little debate on. And obviously comment down below, you know, what your thoughts on this video and the actual, are you surprised with those numbers? Are we expecting something a little bit more different between the two? Let's hear your thoughts. Okay guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you all very soon.